Alright, BobalosRex here. In today's video, I'm on the PTR and I'm talking about the new follower dungeon system. Now, I think this is revolutionary for solo players who just want to play solo, and you get a quest to go do a dungeon, or they have rings in dungeons and you gotta go get those rings. And we'll talk more about this, the implications of this towards the end, but I want to talk about how this works. So, and I'm gonna be critical of it because I have some minor adjustments that maybe if a dev watches this and they want to implement some of the stuff, I think some of this is good. I have some like little tweaks that make this super good, but overall this system's great. You do queue for it like a normal dungeon, which is fine. I just would hope that people who come to the game can see this. I think the starter area, the little island, leads you into this page, but I just want to make sure that new players know that this is an NPC dungeon. So it's right here in the dungeon finder. You got heroic, random, specific, and then follower dungeons. You have the choice of all the dungeons, and it is 60 through 70, so you can do these leveling up. So like I said, you do the zone wide quests, you get a quest for the dungeon, now you can queue up, boom, without having to play with other people. So let's queue up for Algathar. I've already done one as damage. I was Og, and it seemed pretty smooth. The NPCs are really are interactive at the beginning and the end, but not that much in between. One of the cool things you can do is like say, and this is where we're going to talk about what the implications of this are. You can make it so an NPC leads for you. So say I come in here, look, we have the NPCs chatting, we got Horde and Alliance. Hope we don't have to go to any classes. See, they're talking about the dungeon. The mage over here puts out a table. Alright, now they're all being led by me unless I click Dungeon Assistance. I don't know this dungeon, let's say, and then the tank's gonna be like, alright, I'm gonna let you regain some mana first. Oh my god. And then they're gonna show me the dungeon. They literally showed me about NPCs that will fly you around Onara. Alright. And look, it's even telling me about pick a flight to get a buff. That's good. I will be critical of this in a bit, though. Let's get the right buff. Y'all take healing taking, because I'm healing. Mastery. Alright, and then the one NPC will only go forward if you're close to them. So see, I have to be close to the leading NPC, and then they will go forward. And now, I am queued as healer, so I'm probably expected to heal. Before I was DPS, and it wasn't that bad. But we'll have to see how well these NPCs take heals. Alright, see, they're doing good. Oh, I even got support over here. The shaman is dropping heal totems. So I did change specs at some point, and I can probably do that now. Let me see. Let's see how that works as a healer or a tank. So say I'm like, oh man, I'm sucking. My NPCs are dying. I want to go damage. So I'll click here, be like, let me switch to dev. Now watch what happens. The game will be like, hey, you want to update the bots? And they'll be like, okay. Boom, and then good old Krenna, the druid, she's the healer. Alright, and then we got a shaman with my devastation. I had a hunter with my augmentation, and there was a hunter in the group there. And then we got the mage. Now this is one thing I want to add, like, so I got class buffs, right? Why I wish the NPCs would use their class buffs, because as you can see, I don't have int from the mage. Shaman's laying down totems. The paladin here, I don't see an aura. So hopefully they add that. Maybe Blizzard could look into getting the class buffs, at least of the NPCs. Maybe have the NPCs say, hey, blah class, you can do this, you can do that. We have a lust we get. You always have a lust, and they'll lust on cooldown on a boss. Alright, so if you have lust available, they will. And this tank, the tank that they have, is literally the best tank I've literally seen in the game. They can pull AoE threat better than any pet in the game. And any real-life tank in the game. Like, look at this. Oop, I'm gonna pull this. Oop, I'm a dumb idiot. AoE taunted everything. Look at this. Oh my god, the healers got aggro. Look at that. Now watch the tank. Boom, taunt. This tank's got turbo taunt. Alright. I'm asleep. Someone interrupt. Sometimes the NPCs are great at interrupting too. See, look, we pulled all that. Boom. The NPCs got it. They're good. They're really good. They're pretty good. Alright, they're pretty freaking good. I'll tell you that. But one of the things is, so I decided that I wanted this NPC to lead. One of the things I think would be super good is if they auto-mark themselves. Or we have this new ping system. Why isn't she pinging? But I think she should be marked. Be like, yo, I'm the group leader. Follow me. I'm marked. Alright? And maybe have them use pings. Maybe if there's trash that needs to be interrupted, maybe they should call out for the interrupts or call out their interrupts. Because I know these NPCs interrupt. I did Onaran Plains and they were interrupting the fear. Like, boom. They were like, that we know what needs to be interrupted here. We know these fights. They program these bots really good. Takes a lot of time. And then here, so for the boss, like, they're not gonna say the mechanics, but the NPCs know how to do the mechanics. Look, that one NPC's grabbing the orbs. All right, they're bad at it. The other ones didn't, but they tried to grab the orbs. All right, so the NPCs know the mechanics. One of the other cool, so I would like them to mark the leader, call out for interrupts when needed. You know, if this is supposed to be a teaching mode, have them call out the mechanics. You know, be like, soak these. Group up here. Alright, now she's gonna lead me. Oh my gosh, she's doing the pro route, dude. Oh my god. Look at that. But yeah, class buffs. And yeah, I think the call-out should be a thing. Because what I wonder is this expected to teach people the dungeons? Is it just to run the dungeons for them? Because, I mean, that could be a thing. Like, that's all for. And we only got normal right now. But I would love to see this. Alright, Tank, I'm gonna do the right pull for you. Hold on. Hold on. Let me get the whole pull for you. Hold on. Let me get it. Alright. I finished the pull. They didn't know they're supposed to pull the whole room. I got them. That's good. We're good. Alright, y'all ready? I'm fucking ready. Let's go! Alright, boys. Pop the cooldowns! Pop them cooldowns! Oh my god. Boom. Yo, Tank, I got aggro. This is the first time I've ever got aggro. Alright. Bally hit the AoE taunt. Oh my god, Tank's dead. Tank's dead. Oh my god, that's a first. You can pull too much. I really tested it to its limits. Oh my god, it still marked me as healer, but they got a healer. That's funny. I just realized that. Okay. Hybrid classes do really good in here. Look at that. Everyone's doing it, though. We're pulling it together. Good job, team. And here's the cool thing you'll watch in a second. So the NPCs will res, right? So, see, you got the shaman here resin. Even a non-res class will have a res. I saw the mage resing with the jumper cables or whatever it is. So I think that's really cool. And apparently there's a bug where if you die, the NPCs rage quit, which I think is funny. Hopefully that is... They said it was a bug, so that shouldn't be a thing. Alright, why don't we list? There it is. Good job, mage. Alright, see, we're kind of doing the mechanics. Kind of. But we got this. Boom. And there we go. I got some explorer loot, so look at that. So, I'm just gonna play this, but we're gonna talk about the implications now. I'm done showing it off. Y'all pretty much see how it goes down. At the end, they cheer for you. It's kind of cool. And as you can see, they're good at guiding me through the dungeon, but not really like the boss mechanics. And other than the tank dying there, and during the Granith fight, I had people die because you have to do the one mechanic. The NPC tank won't do it for you. You know? So, there's that. Which is one reason why I think they should... they actually did call out that mechanic. So that's why I'm like... I think it'd be cool if they called out most of the mechanics, maybe interrupts. And that leads to the question, like, could we increase the difficulty here and have us do heroic? And there's one thing I think people may be worried about, like, okay, if people can just have NPCs do a dungeon for them, why would they be in Group Finder? You know, would this eat away at the people doing Group Finder? And I'm like, honestly, as long as... Because it'd be quicker to do these with a bunch of people, right? We'd be doing like 1 billion more damage. Maybe they can tune the NPCs back so it'd be slower, but it doesn't even have to be that different, because I think most people would group with people that already do, and the people who are going to use this system are the people that either get stuck with long queues or that don't really want to interact with people and just want to get the dungeon done. You know, to see the story. Because my stepdad doesn't know anything about any dungeon story. And I think this would be a really cool way for him to do a dungeon. Because he'd just be like, oh, I want to see this dungeon. It's got some loot. You know, I want to get this alt some gear. I'll run the normal dungeon with the NPCs. You know, and they can... I would like it for them to teach him the dungeon. So he learns how to do it. Because they pretty much do the work. But I can see them making a harder difficulty to do heroic, maybe even mythic, you know. But if I was going to do the mythic version, especially with the gear it gives, adventure gear, I would want the person involved to really have to do their job. Like, think about the proving grounds. You know, if you're a DPS player, you'd have to interrupt. You'd have to do damage. You'd have to put your damage on the right targets. You'd have to do the DPS mechanic right. You know, if you're a tank, you'd have to get aggro. You'd have to be able to make sure you're keeping aggro. Make sure you're doing the tank mechanics right. You know, maybe keep the DPS requirement low, especially for tanks and healers. But maybe if you're doing the healer, make the NPCs do a little bit more stupid stuff. Stand in fire, so you have to pump your heals, you know, that you have to throw out some heals to get these people healed up, you know. So maybe a little something like that. I can imagine a day where they bring it to mythic difficulty, as long as they increase it, because I feel like more people would just queue up for heroic and blast it out with people. because then you can keep the group running, or you're playing with friends, you know. Or this is the 5-stack and this is the 4-stack run, you know. That could be a thing too. You know, your full 5-man team is going to blast these out. Whereas if you got 4 or 2 and it's like 2 DPS, maybe you just hit up the follower dungeon. I don't see an inherent problem with that other than maybe less groups. But I think if you make it slow enough in a way, for people of the gear that needs it, people would prefer to do it as a group anyways. You know, you see what I'm saying? And can I see a version of this go to LFR? I think it would be great. Maybe a rung lower than LFR. Maybe it still gives adventure gear. But I would love to see this brought to raids. So solo players that don't want to interact, and you can say, oh, it's an MMO, you should learn how to interact. Hey man, it's a video game as well, and some people play many MMOs as single player games, alright? Whether it's because they want to, maybe they don't got friends. Maybe they don't got friends. Maybe they can make friends with the NPCs, and then be like, you know what, these NPCs are so nice to me in the chat. You know, they're telling me the mechanics. They're saying helpful things in the chat, because I really think these NPCs should banter a bit more. I want to make friends. This is how I make friends. And then they join a normal heroic, and they're like, hello, fellow friends, I'm buffing. And that's what I'm saying. I think they should have the class buffs in here, and the NPC should say, hey, you got this buff. You're this class. Can you give me some arcane intellect? Can you drop me health stones? Can you give me Mark of the Wild? I think that'd be super good if they had the NPCs do that. You know? I think it'd be cool for the NPCs to loot the bosses as well. And say, oh man, I didn't get this. Or, oh man, ooh, I got this piece. And then you as a player would be like, what the fuck? How dare you? I wanted that piece. But they didn't really get a piece. But I just think it'd be funny. And cute, you know, to have the NPCs do that, because I really think that it'd be cool for the NPCs to banter. And as you can see, my DPS is good, so I'm blasting through the dungeon. And that's one of the things where it's like, of course, geared players that just need to knock out a heroic for the week would probably just use NPCs instead of use the finder. So, I mean, there is an argument to be made there, but if enough people want it, then, you know, maybe that's the way. Wow, dude. But we'll have to see. I still feel like people will do normal dungeons because it's faster, they have full people. But at this point, with how good these NPCs are, they may start infiltrating. You get a long queue for a heroic or a dungeon, like, yo, you want NPCs to do this with you? Especially if you're leveling and you're in all these different things, you know, and see, look, they're all cheering. I definitely want to see where this goes forward. I definitely think you can make these challenging and actually make a heroic, maybe a mythic version. And I would like to see them do this with LFR. Or a rung lower than LFR, because these NPCs are pretty dang good. I would prefer these NPCs over a lot of LFR. Alright? A lot of LFR players. Alright? But yeah, okay. Here's a buff thing. I should have buffed the healer with this. Healer could have been like, hey, you're an evoker. You have this spell. Do that. I really think these could be a great training tool. If Blizzard isn't going to move these forward to be, like, add a heroic or mythic, or maybe move it to LFR, they should at least use these as a training tool. Alright? If you're doing follower dungeons, I want these NPCs explaining the dungeon. Saying, hey, can you interrupt this? Hey, can you do this? At least the first time around. So, if a person wants to use this to learn dungeons, it'd be a great tool. But if they just want to, or maybe make it toggled. So if you have Dungeon Assistant on, they tell you all the stuff. If you have it off, just blast the dungeon. You know, you don't want to play with other players, but you want to get that dungeon done because you got a quest in there. You know, you want to get the valuable XP in dungeons. You like how dungeons are. You want to see what they look like. You want to see what the boss does. I think that's great. So, I definitely think there's a future for follower dungeons. I want to see where this tech leads because, again, these NPCs are wonderful so far. There are a few tweaks. Remember, my tweaks were Blizzard should mark the leader like I have them marked. They should call out interrupts. We should get the class buffs if we're getting classes in here. And the leader should call out the mechanics if you have that. And your party should ask for buffs if your class can buff. But yeah, I think this mode is super great. And I can't wait to see where it goes. And this is one I think a lot of solo players are going to love. And it's going to be a valuable tool for those kind of players. Like my stepdad, I think he's really going to enjoy this feature to actually see dungeons. And then I can be like, yo, have you tried Brackenhide? Well, the boss does this and this. And he's like, oh yeah, I've at least seen the boss. Oh, I've seen what happened in there, you know? I think that'd be really cool. Anyways, thank you for watching. I went on long enough about this, but I think this is an 11 out of 10 feature. It's super good. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.